Hi, I'm Claire and this is my not so monthly writing vlog. If you've seen the last one of these, I did it at the end of March, just before I moved. So now, of course, I've moved to a new flat. I've sorted out all my unpacking, tried to get used to my new, slightly longer commute and find ways to make it productive. I'm still working on all of that, but I am also back to trying to write as regularly as I can, preferably every day, because that took a bit of a backseat when I was flat hunting and moving and all that. I'm still in the process of wrangling my very, very rough first draft of my novel into something that's kind of readable without plot holes that could go to beta readers. But that does include a lot of drafting material from scratch, because obviously I'm doing a structural pass and I've identified a whole bunch of places where I need new material, and so I have to write new material. So that's what I want to talk about today. How do we approach that rough draft, that first stage of writing where we know it's going to suck, and it's okay because we know we're going to edit it and polish it and make it much better. For me, I almost have like two modes of first drafting. If I'm just sitting in front of an open document or Scrivener file and just trying to draft something, I will tinker with it as I go along, and I just can't help myself from doing that. But of course, I've come to writing from NaNoWriMo, and that requires you to write very, very quickly. So whenever I'm doing NaNoWriMo, I always end up just using write or die, or making myself like write and not stop and not read what I've been doing. So that means that I can do either what I think of as a nano draft, just like write really quickly, get words on paper, don't worry if it's terrible, or even laugh at the fact that it's terrible and just keep going. Or I can do a draft that I'm moderately happier with, that I know needs some work, but that has some of the things that I know I will add to it later anyway. For instance, if I'm writing at my own pace and not kind of forcing myself to go through this nano frenzy of writing really quickly, I will make sure that I'm showing and not telling. I will put in sensory details. I'll type in something like, she saw the man running, and then I'll think to myself, well, obviously she saw him. Who else is going to see him? It's in her point of view. And then of course I'll tell myself running isn't very descriptive. I'll change it to sauntering or sprinting. And then I'll think, well, this word that I've put in isn't really something that they would have used in the Victorian era. It sounds really modern. I'll swap it out. That process of thinking through stuff like that, for me, takes a long time, and it means that if I'm doing a writing session where I'm trying to get this right as I'm going, I'll tend to write maybe like 200 or 250 words in like an hour or more. And when I look at what I've done, I'll feel like, yeah, this is good. I can keep going. I can build on that. And then I'll look at the clock, and then I'll look at the word count, and I'll feel like, well, this sucks. It's really a short amount to have done for all that work that I've put in. It's taken me an enormous amount of time to get from I'm starting my second draft in January to I'm working on chapter 4 and 5 in June. And that's not a situation that I really want to be in, because I want to be finishing this book and then starting another one and finishing that one. I want to be able to progress, and I feel like if I'm writing that slowly, then it's difficult for me to make that progress. So last week I decided that I would try and power through this scene that I couldn't manage to write, and kind of apply this NaNoWriMo mentality to it, and see if I could just maybe write a really crappy first draft of it and then build on that in layers. And I ended up writing 2,500 words this week. I did 500 words each on Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday after work in the evening, and then I did another 1,000 words on Saturday morning. I know from looking at the work that I did in that week and looking at the work that I've done before that it's much lower quality and it'll require more editing, but I also like editing better. I'm one of these writers that want to tell a story and like having written, but I don't particularly enjoy the act of writing. I find it fairly difficult, as I've explained at length So, seeing how that's worked out for me this week, I thought that I would give Camp Nanowrimo a shot. Now, Camp Nanowrimo is the summer light version of the big November National Novel Writing Month. Basically, it's the same kind of website but rejigged for the summer with a camp theme. It's adorable and you can set your own word count goal. I'm not going to set myself the goal of 50,000 words like we normally do for NaNoWriMo, because I just feel like for me that kind of pace is only okay when I'm writing something from scratch. And I find it really difficult to maintain a pace like that when I know exactly what I want and I'm trying to be very precise with what I'm doing. I'm going to give myself the goal of 20,000 words, and that is 500 words per weekday evening and 1,000 words per weekend day. I need an extra 500 words here and there to make it to 20,000, but I'm sure that's going to aggregate over the month if I go just a little bit over my word count for each day. So I guess we'll see how that goes. I definitely have enough scenes throughout my first draft that need to be added so that I would be able to do 20,000, but if I end up doing an hour or two of editing instead of doing my writing for a day, I think that would be just fine, because I am doing a second draft and I need to be flexible about that. But if you're interested in Camp NaNoWriMo, I'll put a link to their website in the description box, and I'll also put the link to the Nano London Facebook group, because there are some people in the group who are organizing write-ins and events for Camp NaNoWriMo specifically. So if you're in town and you want to go write with some cool people, you can do that. Let me know in the comments below if you'll be doing Camp Nano this July, and please let me know how you first draft and how that's different from what I said. If you want to know more about my writing, you can check out the sidebar for another writing vlog, as well as a video on why do NaNoWriMo. If you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button for more videos from me every week. I've been Claire, thanks so much for watching, and see you soon.